Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Avalon Williams. This is PSA TV, the Wake Up Call segment. Joining us this morning is the newly elected president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Gideon Dickson. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Avalon.
And we also have the secretary elected, Mr. Ancil Forde. Good morning, sir. How are you guys this morning?
Fine, thank you.
Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
You look so serious with me this morning.
Is that me?
Yeah.
No, that'll change.
So, Mr. Gideon, my first question to you is, how do you feel as the newly elected president for the Police Welfare Association?
The feeling is one what you would call humbling and overwhelmed in the same breath. For the mere fact that when Mr. Forde and myself would have come together in January of this year with an intent to run for elected office and bring about a change, it was only a dream, it was only a vision. And to see that we would have navigated from then to today, and the dream has come true, we would have had a lot of support, a lot of prayers being extended our way, and we also selected a team which I believe would bring about that level of change and service that the membership require at this point in time, in this stage in the history of the organization. So I am humbled by that. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be given a nod of approval to serve the membership.
I know a lot of people not aware of who you are, your background and stuff like that. For those that are looking on this morning, you can just give them a brief history. Who is Mr. Gideon Dickson?
Gideon Dickson. There's a flyer that was circulated during the campaign trail that spoke to my being. I want to sum it up. I'm the perfect mix of diplomacy, sociability, and professionalism. I am what you would call a person who comes from the belly of the organization. I have 25 years service today. Let me commend all the members of the class of 1994 into the barracks on the 1st of July, of Friday in 1994. We are celebrating our anniversary today, and we will have a gala celebration on Friday, God's willing.
Okay.
There's also a batch 1996 who celebrating the same anniversary. They had 23 years service, and we commend them too. Having said so, my tenureship, if you do your check on me, you will see it speaks to one thing. Throughout it, even as a trainee in the barracks, I believe in representation, so I would have always represent the voice of the voiceless. So I was the senior man of my squad, and I was always a team player. Also, that team player would have transcended into the things that would have been inculcated into me coming out of a family home, a single parent family home where I was the first of 5 kids. I also had a community which believed in me from very young, and then I went to a school which to date I think is one of the greatest, it has made one of the greatest impact upon my life, Southeast Port Secondary School.
Okay.
So in those environments I was always exposed to team, to thinking of and beyond yourself, and always having to fight against the status quo. And then even before that, I think my name itself, the name given to me, which is my father's name, Gideon, it speaks of that man who is a leader, a man of valor. Truly, I'm trying to live to represent the name, but over and beyond that, in the organization, in my 25 years service, I have worked in Port Division, I've worked in Garden Emergency Branch, I've worked in Anti-Corruption Investigations Bureau, I have worked in Northeastern Division, which to date stands out as one of my legacy, because there is where I really and truly embraced the representation in a meaningful way, where I went on to become a Central Committee representative for the members in Northeastern between 2011 and 2015, or thereabouts. When was it? 2011 and 2017. I didn't contest again in 2017. Having come out of Northeastern Division, I would have been elevated to the rank of acting inspector child protection for the last 15 months. And the persons, the membership there also saw within me the ability to lead and to represent, and they they unquestionably voted for the members of Team Prime because they know of how I would really and truly go about fearlessly, honestly, trying to represent the cause of the workers just to get a betterment. I don't want to steal the spotlight from Mr. Forde, so I would like to invite him to say who is at
I'm
this
now
point
going to
in
ask
time.
Mr. Forde if he could give us a little background history as well.
But
Sure.
just one thing, I am also an avid sportsman and a national coach. I coach the Trinidad and Tobago national men
Okay,
volleyball
that's
team.
nice.
Yes, Avalon. Well, I'm not as flamboyant as Inspector Dickson. All right. However, let us say my secondary school would have been Curia Junior Sec at the time, and then I went on to St. Augustine Senior Secondary. From there, I did my studies in labor studies at Cipriani College of Labor. All right. In my early parts of work, I had an interest in betterment for workers, even myself. I found myself speaking to management regarding issues. However, I'm here today, a police officer, for the last 20 years. In fact, it will altogether, my service is 23 years service. In that, I had 4 years service as a prison officer. And in fact, today is our anniversary as a prison officer. So congratulations. Congratulations to my prison officer batch, which is batch 254 of 1996. So having spent 4 years there, then I came across to the police service in 2000. From 2000 to now, that would be 19 years. When I add my 4 years service, 23 years service altogether. As a police officer, I started off in Western Division at Carenage Police Station, my first port of call. Then St. James Police Station. I spent a year or so in the divisional office. Then I went to Forde Squad, where I spent 2 years at Forde Squad. Whilst there, in fact, prior to going there, I was trained as a fingerprint expert crime scene investigator. So having left Forde Squad, after the 2 years, I went to CID CRO, that is, in fact, the Criminal Records Office, where I performed the duties of a fingerprint expert and a crime scene investigator. I remained performing those duties from 2007 until 2016, right? Although part of that period would have been spent in Northeastern Division, right, as a fingerprint expert crime scene investigator. Currently, I am attached to the Homicide Bureau of Investigations at CIRU, which is Specialist Evidence Recovery Unit in Komoto. Again, it is more or less similar work to that of a crime scene investigator, which we refer to as a CSI. Yes. So I have some other caps that I wear.
That's a lot, I can tell.
Yeah. All right. I am a Central Committee rep for the current, of the association. I am now the elected or secretary-elect, but for the last 2 years I function as a Central Committee rep for homicide, and basically that is the person who would sit at association meetings with the executive to represent the interests of the persons from your unit, your division, your section. All right, and that would have been probably one of the underlying reasons why I spoke with Inspector Dickson for us to form a team to go up for elections. All right. At the Central Committee, my experience there informed me that, listen, a lot more could be done for the betterment of police officers, and it speaks to training of Central Committee reps as well, to be more efficient in the discharge of their role and their function. All right, so having formed a team and we ran for elections, having been successful, it is a feeling of accomplishment. And I see myself now being in a position to really and truly represent the interests of police officers. For far too long, and I want to say probably within the last 18 months to 2 years, the representation of police officers has gone silent. silent on many issues, and police officers themselves, they are asking, in terms of where is the association in a lot of the things that is happening.
And that's my question. I'm going to come to the president about Mr. Dickson. What changes do you have in mind that you're going to bring to the table, which former Michael Seals haven't done thus far?
Well, let me start by saying, let me salute Mr. Michael Seals and Mr. Ramisa for their sterling service as at the helm of the association over the last 9 years. As was alluded to by Mr. Forde, within the last 18 to 24 months, representation would have dwindled considerably. So that is why Team Prime was formed. Right? Part of our name speaks to equity, and what we would want to do is be able, as a team, to be able to deliver representation to our membership and create through that representation where we would be able to provide equality to all the members. This in itself, I think, is a catalyst of change, because we have a lot of members who feel disconnected to the association. They don't even know why they are members of the association. So they are ill-informed, they are not informed. And we would firstly want to inform our members, we would like to empower them in the same breath. So one of the things that we propose to do immediately is to ensure all members are aware of the benefits of being a member of the association. We would also want to improve communication, because the truth is there is a grave gap between what exists in terms of communication with the membership and that of the association. Our survey, which we surveyed over 586 officers prior to entering the election, showed that in an alarming state that over 90% of the membership believe that the issue of communication continues to be a sore point. They don't feel connected to the association. Now, having done so, we could also speak to several of our manifesto items which came up as welfare issues which went unattended to, especially in the last 2 years. Though they were attended, but it wasn't placed where it needed to be placed on the burner of issues. So members feel disenchanted. It's against that backdrop, we could speak to, we have 20 items on our manifesto which we have circulated via social media.
Right.
However, 13 of them were used on the campaign trail. And those 13 is what we would want to prioritize, because in the survey of the 586 persons, what we saw is that those 13 were very much common, with housing and medical being the two that stood out the most front burner. So with the 13, we propose to be able to bring a level of representation, and we want to be assessed by that level of representation to our membership. We could call it out in no chronological order, but they include, and this is what we use in the campaign trail, and it won the hearts and minds of the membership. Knowledge of benefits for members, improved communication, special reserve officers' interest, free medical, group medical card, employer assistance program, grievance procedure for TTPS, emergency relief fund, development fund and housing / land, divisional daycare, early preparation of pension and leave records, resettlement program for police officers, further training for Central Committee rep. Now, all these 13 items, more or less, the members of our team have a policy position in relation to it. Mr. Forde could go a little more comprehensive into the items if you're so inclined. But this is what we would like to bring to the membership and be assessed on that. Again, to Mr. Ramisa and Mr. Seals, they did what they have to do. The baton has now been passed, and it is for us to take the baton, ensure, just as in our mission statement, to ensure that the association is the premier association for its members. We would like to do that in a meaningful way.
Mr. Forde, you can touch a bit on the pension plan for the officers as well, and health. Yeah.
All right, sure. The issue in terms of pension, right now, officers upon retirement, let us say you can leave at 50 optional, and you would get your benefits. You may, if it is you have not entered the first division, then 55 years would be the compulsory date of retirement upon which you are entitled to your benefits. If you are in the first division at age 60, right, that is when you don't have to retire, and likewise that's the benefits. What we are aware of, we are aware that officers would have since retired, and for various reasons, I want to say administrative reasons, they have been out of the job in some cases. We can look at about 6 months, and it even has further than that, where they are still waiting for their terminal benefits in terms of their pension and their gratuity. And by inquiry, we understand, in fact we understood, okay, these are the areas, right, from appraisals to unclassified sick leave to documents not being filed, right, in officers' file, contributing to that sort of delay. All right, so what we are saying, to treat with that issue, it must be given some level of priority, because you are no longer in receipt of a salary, you are no longer in fact you are not yet in receipt of your pension. So one could readily understand the hardship that you would be experiencing, right? Right, so what we are proposing is to meet with the commissioner and see if a policy could be developed where, if it is that we need to start this process, probably 2 years, I want to say at least, right, nearing the officer's retirement, to ensure that all of these areas are dealt with, so that when the officer, he or she, retires, they can get their benefits as close to the date of retirement as possible. All right, so that is the area there, the pension. What we're also looking at is the possibility of getting a resettlement program implemented in the police service for police officers. We are speaking about fairness in this regard. A resettlement program exists in the Defense Force. And from my understanding of it, let us say within for the last 2 years of an officer's service, he or she is given the opportunity to identify a particular area, whether it's academic, whether it's skill, that they would like to pursue. And it is at the cost of the state that they are sent on these programs. Now, it prepares them for exit of the service, right? And we could understand the need for it, see the benefit, because after serving 33 plus years in an organization, this is what you know, right? Because you would have done it routinely every day, you get up and you go to work. So to prepare you now for that change, some people find themselves having difficulty and they go back to the establishment. We have officers returning to the police service. Some be it for probably financial reasons, others simply because this is my love, this is what I know, it is hard to part with. So by equipping them, by means of this resettlement program, where they can learn a new skill, actually helps them to prepare for retirement. And this is a definite benefit that officers, I believe they should be given. All right? And
I mean, they complain about their salary too.
Yes, salary is an issue that we will need to deal with, treat with. Currently, negotiations are going on with the chief personnel officer, and proposals were submitted. We are waiting a counter proposal from the CPO, and we, as the executive elect, will meet with the CPO and continue the discussion to see if we can address the issue of salary for police officers.
You know, I wanted to ask you a question, Mr. Dickson. If a police officer is injured on a job, though, say he killed on a job, is there any sort of compensation for the family?
Yes, within recent times, there has been legislation passed to the effect where officer's family will get $1 million. We know particularly the jailbreak which occurred, the attempted jailbreak.
That's true.
3 years ago, the Maynard family would have been in receipt of same. So that is what we know takes place presently. Once in the line of duty an officer loses his life, his family will get $1 million compensation from the state. we are also saying that as the issue of salary, we would want to start the discussion, and we'll probably launch it from this platform. At the completion of this salary negotiation, which has reached a sensitive state, efforts will be made by our team to bring in the technocrats, bring in advocacy, bring in all the legal framework and persons to assist in terms of trying to create a link with the police from that of the public in terms of salary negotiation. We believe that we should be, in fact, under the judiciary, because the role and function we play is, in fact, that of an enforcer of the law. And if you think of the criminal justice system being the cornerstone of democracy and ensuring law and order takes place, I do that sign just to say it operates like a funnel.
Right.
And the police officers are the gatekeepers of the funnel. Within that funnel, so the funnel there, we keep the gate. And within that funnel, we have magistrates, we have judges, we have probation officers, we have all the likes, all these persons. And these persons are paid a salary to keep them aloft of corruption and corrupt practices and stuff. And the officers who send persons into the system are treated as public servants. And I think that the time has come for us to delink from that of the public service. And it is against that backdrop we'll be making all efforts to have that done. It will require a job evaluation similar to what was done in 2000, but when you also compare the fact that we are prepared, if an officer dies in the line of duty, to give him $1 million, to give his family $1 million, the officer who is working on a day-to-day basis, his salary, and he putting his life on the line every single day. When you compare the risk factor that goes with it, we are saying that we feel that we will have strong arguments to get a job evaluation to show the officers are in fact deserving of a better package, right? And it shouldn't be just what we are able to get by way of negotiation with the CPO. So that is the direction we'd like to take it.
Are you in agreement with the new police uniform, which was recommended by the previous association,
All right.
the administration?
I did not see it in terms of get to actually see it in real. I saw images of it, and whilst I was not part of the panel to come to that agreement,
Right.
I am not personally satisfied with aspects of the uniform. And if it is that there is an opportunity to revisit it, all right, I would be one of the persons clamoring to revisit it. At the end of the day, the uniform must be conducive for the day-to-day activity of a police officer. And from what I saw, although I did not get, let us say, all the information as to what particular wear would be for a particular purpose, all right, I'm saying that from what I saw, I am more than believe that it needs to be reviewed.
Mr. Dickson.
I support my secretary to the extent that what will now, if the consensus by virtue of the membership is to change the uniform, then by virtue of that consensus, we will have to support that, right? However, I myself haven't been exposed to the uniform in any meaningful way, so it's only images I would have seen. It's against that backdrop I prefer to have more information to speak directly to the uniform and any issues concerning uniform. But as it is, I am aware that when I was a Central Committee rep, a presentation would have been made to the members of the Central Committee, which spoke to a change in uniform, and at that juncture, the members of the Central Committee would have been tasked with going around and securing the blessings or the consensus of the general membership, and I'm aware that they would have gotten the required amount of persons to say they want to change the uniform. So again, I don't know what came in since that, but that is where we are at this juncture.
Dealing with the high crime levels as it continues to be the biggest issue in the police force, what would you say is the current performance level of the police service in this area?
Could you kindly repeat the question?
Dealing with the high crime levels as it continues to be one of the biggest issues for the police service, what would you say is the current performance level of the police service in this area? Dealing with the high crimes in the country.
Let me go.
Okay. The performance of the police in general is at a satisfactory level. There is room for improvement.
Right.
Now, we can identify different categories of crimes. All right, so you have minor offenses, you have serious offenses, you have homicides, and from the statistics, though I don't have it for me, there would have been increases in detections across the series of crimes, barring homicides, which tend to, well, in fact, which is one of our major challenges. Now, understanding the nature of a homicide and the tedious investigation, the unwillingness of members of the public who may have witnessed to assist the police officers, and the current state of the resources in terms of the forensic resources available to us, it remains a challenge. However, within that, there is a significant degree of success working with the current resources, but clearly I would say there is need for improvement.
Billions of dollars are being spent every year to fight crime. Why is it we can't fix the problem though? Why is it?
Well, you're making a statement in terms of a national statement there where money is being spent, and I can't speak particularly because I don't have all the information, but in terms of money allocated to the police service, the commissioner has that control over the funds allocated to the police service, and he would be best to speak in relation to that aspect.
Well, I want to ask Mr. Dickson, what plans do you have for a safer police force and a safer Trinidad and Tobago?
We will be working in collaboration with the Commissioner of Police. Our role and function will be to ensure that the Commissioner of Police is aware of the challenges faced by the membership, to ensure that once those are satisfied, the level of support that is required. He is the policy maker, the administrator, the leader of the organization. We, the members of the executive, will represent the persons who do the operational work more so, and even those in upper management, in administration. Once there is a marrying or a union between the policy making and the membership, you will find that we'll be able to deliver a better quality of service to the members of the public. Mr. Forde answered the question correctly there in terms of how at a national scope, the question I asked there was it is over and beyond what we probably could do to some extent. But even with that, we are saying that from the perspective of being police officers and operating within the environment in which we operate, the grand ideas that the commissioner has are in fact ideas. Some of the ideas are ideas which we could utilize to the benefit of solving crime.
Well, one of his ideas was the polygraph test.
The polygraph test.
Yes,
right.
Which he's asking for, but you're opposing that. Could you explain what's happening there?
I think the media often do a good job of sensationalizing situations. Having said so, the commissioner would be meeting with the members of our team this Wednesday. I wouldn't want to preempt any statements where that is concerned, because I think it was blown out of proportion. What must be understood is the fact that whatever we do, we must have the authority to do whatever we are to do. The policy and the framework must also be in place. And all I said, simply put, is that members have issues. And if members have issues, any issue of the membership is an issue of the commissioner. So it's like a parent having kids. If your kids have issues, you need to hear what your kids are saying, because you wouldn't be able to solve the issue unless you hear. And so we will be meeting with the Commissioner of Police and bringing our membership issues to him.
Can I ask, what is your relationship with the police commissioner?
You could ask. So I'll leave you that.
I'm asking
Right.
the relationship.
We have a professional relationship, I
Right.
must say. We had our very first conversation on Friday. And it was a very enthralling conversation,
Right.
a very engaging conversation.
So
And
Mr. Forde was there too?
No,
Okay.
it was in fact a phone call that we spoke to each other,
Okay.
and it went well, all things being equal, right? We have mutual respect for each other and know the role that each of us have to play, and the team have to play in terms of delivering both to the membership of the police service and also to the members of the public. And against that backdrop, we look forward to work with the commissioner, because I think with that unified approach, the public will in fact benefit from a greater level of delivering service, right? We would want to, you see, the issue of the perception of fear for crime, I think is an area that the commissioner spoke to in the past, and I know we'd want to see if we could make some greater strides to treat with that, right? Because although we speak about the crime trend, we're still experiencing low crime trend as compared to other previous years and stuff, and that isn't being sung because it won't sell, and we are often judged more so by the amount of murders,
Right.
and not the amount of crimes per se, but generally we try the bigger police service is going leaps and bounds to ensure.
So
that
you're saying that the police service has adequate manpower to deal with crime?
I'm saying that like everything else, we could do it a little more.
Okay.
We could do it a little more. But even with that, what we have, once managed appropriately, I think we will deliver more, right? But we will also welcome more, right? And those persons coming into the organization from the base to ensure that the vibrancy of the organization continues. And we have a lot of members of the public who want to come into the police service, right? And one of the things that plaguing the coming into the police service, especially males, is the fact of the same polygraph, right? And then
And also the lie detector test with all of that.
Oh, that's the polygraph.
Yeah.
So, and again, the police service is only one institution in the context of Trinidad and Tobago, and we have persons who want to serve,
Okay.
and they cannot get past the polygraph. And the truth is, some of them might have made mistakes as young persons, and it is debarring them from coming to serve. So you are being ostracized for the rest of your life because of the issues that you met as a young teenager. And so some of these things we need to meet with the commissioner and treat with, right? And that is my take at this point in time.
Mr. Forde?
I did, in particular, to add to the polygraph issue, the president would have, he spoke to the issue, and I share a similar view in relation to it. And as let us say as a body, in terms of the persons elected, as well as who was on the team, we identified this as an issue and we spoke to it. So we know the direction we would like the conversation to go in relation to it. And I don't think there's a need for me to add anything in relation to that other than what the president would have said.
Mr. Forde, could you just explain to me, because over the weekend I met with some police officers. I thought I was going to get a ticket. They pulled out a form to take my personal information.
Yes.
Could you explain what was that form?
Sure. Well, I would understand it to be the street check field interview form. All right. It is a form that was introduced by one of the past commissioner of police. It is to record that interaction that police officers would have with members of the public, and it has, let us say, a twofold in it. In that, there's accountability in terms of who you interact with by having to complete this form, and from my experience, it would have also assisted members of the public because, for instance, the officer would ask you to see a driver's permit, and he would record the information and then submits the form when he returns to the station, to the IT section. They would enter the information into the database. And I recall that persons came to the station and let us say they did not have their driver's permit on them,
Right.
right? Might have been a minor accident. And by checking on the database, I would have been satisfied that the person does have a driver's permit, right? And the person explaining that they forgot it home, as the case may be,
So what
it
happens
collaborated. So I would have given the person the
Have you ever had any bad interaction with the police?
Can I be honest?
I just want you to be
Honest, yeah, that's what I want.
That is all. I want
Honest.
you to be honest.
Okay, my interaction that I had with them a couple of years ago, fog lights on my car.
Right, okay.
And they wanted to give me a ticket for it.
Right.
But my light wasn't on. And I
Right.
argued that in St. James. Why am I getting a ticket for fog lights?
So you had a brand new vehicle with a fog light that
Yes.
kind of steel, right?
Yes, that was my issue there.
That was the issue. And so you had to defend your position.
Of course.
Was that conversation or that interaction with the police in fact a terrible one to the extent that you were fearful of them?
No, I wasn't fearful. No, it's just I was really upset the fact that I bought a car, lights on the car, fog
Right,
lights.
right.
Why am I getting a ticket for this
Right.
when they should go up? Well, advise the companies
Right.
not to
So-
put in these extra lights.
Right, so the company was supposed to send something to the
Mind you,
Ministry
your
of
officer
Work.
did rough me up. That's why I was kind of scared.
Right. Let me apologize for the officer. who
That's
roughed you
okay.
up, right?
My sister handled it for me.
I see better. I see your sister. No, I went in that direction because what I noticed more than anything else is that persons often speak of the fear of the police and the interaction with the police, and by and large, to me, it is more from a sensationalization perspective as opposed to anything else, because the one-on-one interaction with officers more times than not doesn't redound into the officer beating you, slapping you, cursing you, or whatever the case. There will be, I'm not taking that there are some officers who might engage in such behavior, and those officers, the organization consistently and continually making efforts to weed them out of the organization, particularly if you have inter-corrupt practices. But even beyond that, the organization has a responsibility, which it is to improve in terms of training of officers.
Right.
We as the association also would be lobbying and echoing that sentiment in terms of training and retraining, and even above and beyond that is certification of officers, so that we'll be able to give a better customer service. And the street check that Mr. Forde referred to also speaks to that positive interaction where we would want to capture, because we will not be able to win back your public trust and confidence if it is we just sit in a vehicle and don't come out and speak to you and greet you. It has to be by how we are able to effectively communicate, how we're able to advise you, how we're able to provide that service for you. Sometimes the service is not just merely about crime, it is just service in general, it's a listening ear in some direction. So we as police officers, we understand and appreciate that we have a role to play, and we also know that the organization has a responsibility, not just train persons as they enter the barracks,
Right.
but ensure training continues. It must be part of our DNA. So we'll be lobbying for that when we sit and speak to the Commissioner of Police. And for any bad episode you might have had, you see that I want to humbly apologize and
Thank
say to
you.
you, it will happen again, especially because we'll be reaching out to officers.
Yeah.
But let me take a little more from that experience you're talking about. That was an isolated experience that you spoke to. Is there any other?
Yeah, maybe I will talk to Mr. Dickson when the camera is on.
When the camera is off.
Yes.
All right. But what about the positive interactions you had with the police?
I do have positive interaction with them as well, but it's half and half with the police, because I open the papers, I see a lot of stuff happening. Police officer interfered with alleged Venezuelan girl and 3 officers, so I'm like,
All
I
right.
look at it and read every single thing.
Okay, but then being someone in the media industry, you would readily understand that there would be different sides, right, to a story. So to be influenced heavily by what is read would be, I want to say, an error, right? You need to firstly take yourself outside of that and ask the question, what else is not being said in this story here?
Right.
All right. Now, so based on that, you would have you apprehend a certain feeling towards the police. But then balance that with the positive interactions you have with the police. And whilst it is you would hear in the media reports of a particular police officer or two particular police officers being accused of doing something wrong, oftentimes you don't hear about the hundreds of police officers who are doing their duty according to how they were trained with professionalism. And the same members of the public, right, would not oftentimes grace the media to say, hey, my interaction with the police was so memorable, the police really served me. You would get few of that, all right? So I know that the commissioner has launched the hashtag MyTTPS campaign and is calling upon members of the public to share any sort of positive interaction you had with the police, all right? Because to label the police service based on the behavior of a couple officers, it doesn't do justice, right, to the hard work that police officers put in on a daily basis, all right? So based on your positives, I want you to also carry that narrative as you go forward, all right, and not only speak about the negative.
Good morning and welcome back to PSA TV. This is the Wake Up Call segment. I'm Avalon Williams, and sat with me this morning is the president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Gideon Dickson, and also the secretary elected, Mr. Forde. So I just want to tell you guys, thanks for coming on our program this morning. Thanks for having you. I know you're very busy. You had 2 interviews clash this morning. So I want to ask you for your closing comment.
For
yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, firstly, we must say thanks. Thanks to the police officers who supported us at the elections. We're speaking about both in Trinidad and Tobago. All right. And what we want to let you know is that what it is we indicated to you when we met and spoke with you all, that this is what you can hold us to. All right. We would very much like to improve your lives as police officers, and you all can hold us to account in this regard, and we want you to. All right, so more or less just to say thank you to our members. All right,
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you to yourself as well for having us here this morning.
This platform is always here for you guys. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Mr. Dickson.
Let me first by saying thanks Almighty God for allowing us the opportunity to be victorious at the poll. We also want to say thanks to all the persons who participated in the process, because without the persons, be it you voted for our side or the other side, the democratic process would not have been able to play out as how it played out. And we are aware that the process continues because the official results haven't been published yet. But for all those who participated, we want to say thanks. Also, for all those who supported the members who offered themselves as candidates, we want to thank them also. For the persons who ran the election in terms of the election committee, the presiding officers and deputy presiding officers, I know it was an act where it was selfless in terms of trying to ensure that it have transparency and accountability in the fraternity. I want to thank them likewise. To the members of Team Prime in particular, my Vice President, Mr. Anderson Gonzalez, Mr. Tilak, my batch, who also celebrated 25 years, who run as the post as trustee and missed out by 51 votes, to Ms. Natasha Reid Bartholomew, the Assistant Secretary, who had a split vote and awaited on the final results there, to Mr. Ishmael Pitt, Sergeant who operates out at Northern Division, and is a trustee who won the most votes in the entire election. My dear friend, colleague in Tobago, Mr. Rodel Kirk, the first division officer, he beat a person who is considered to be a legacy in his own rights for that post, Mr. Jason Johnson, the person elected as the treasurer of the association. These members of Team Prime, I want to really and truly thank them from the depths of my heart for showing that kind of support in Forde and myself, and being able to go there and capture the minds and the imagination of persons. We have persons behind the scene, I don't want to call their names at this point in time, who have provided logistical support, and even we had some prayer warriors praying for us. We want to thank them a whole lot. To our families, well,
I think you have one supporting fan that you're forgetting. Mr. Rayon Jr.
Yeah, well, Rayon Jr., he just passed his SCA, and Forde, Ancil Forde's son just passed SCA too.
That is very nice.
Right. Forde's son got his first choice, his Hillview College. My son got his third choice,
very nice.
Tanampuna Sec. And so we are sure that both Forde and myself will be in those schools in a very prominent way, because we support our kids, and to all the fathers and all the parents outside there, the police officers who are parents, continue to provide a level of support to the younger ones, because they're the next generation. We want to also thank your station for having us here this morning. It was in fact challenging, but it was worth it. We must say it was worth it. It has provided a platform for us to be able to reach more than who we would have reached within our campaign trail. As Forde said, we just want to be able to be assessed based on our ability to deliver on what we said we're going to do. We feel that we didn't put things on paper that what persons want to hear. We put what we feel that we could sell. We put what persons want. And I think that what persons want or what they feel they need at this point in time, we are going to deliver on those things. So we want to be assessed by that. We look forward to our working relationship with the Commissioner of Police. We know that every day will not be a smooth day, but we know at the end of the day, he has the interests of the members at heart. Similarly, we have the interests of the members, and together we'll be able to move mountains. So again, thanks very much for the opportunity. We do look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you so much. And that was the president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Dickson, and also the secretary of the Police Welfare Association, Ancil Forde. I want to thank you guys for joining us here at PSA TV. You are welcome anytime.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So you're going to toss that break and come right back.